Let me guess. You've cut out gluten. You've cut out dairy. You've tried low FODMAP. You've taken every probiotic on the shelf, and you are still bloated every single day. What if I told you the reason nothing has worked is because you have been chasing the wrong cause this entire time? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 real reasons you are always bloated. Reasons that most people never consider and most doctors never explain. By the end of this video, you will understand what is actually happening in your gut, why the common fixes keep failing, and exactly what to do about it starting today. You've tried everything: the elimination diets, the supplements, the food journals. Maybe your doctor told you it's just IBS or just stress and sent you on your way. But the bloating keeps coming back. And the worst part is not the discomfort itself, it is not knowing why. Not knowing if this is something serious. Not knowing if you are ever going to feel normal again. I'm Dr. Malona, a board-certified gastroenterologist with over 10,000 patients treated and graduate training in nutritional biochemistry and metabolism. Bloating is one of the most common complaints I see in my clinic, and the pattern I observe is almost always the same. The real cause has never been properly identified. I'm going to walk you through 5 reasons your bloating keeps coming back and show you what to actually do about each one. The last one is something you can change tonight. Reason number 1, you are treating symptoms without a diagnosis. The number 1 reason people stay bloated is because they are treating the symptom without ever identifying the cause. Bloating is not a diagnosis, it is a signal. It could be driven by SIBO, a motility issue, food intolerances, gut dysbiosis, or even something as straightforward as inadequate fiber intake. But if you do not know which one, every intervention is a guess. And guessing is why you have tried 10 different things and none of them stuck. Bloating is not your problem. Bloating is your body telling you there is a problem. Those are 2 very different things. I see this constantly. A patient comes in after years of bloating. She's tried every diet, every supplement. Multiple doctors told her it was just IBS. Within her first visit, I suspected bacterial overgrowth, ran the appropriate test, confirmed it, and treated it with a targeted approach. Symptoms resolved. Years of suffering because nobody looked past the surface. Imagine your smoke detector keeps going off. You could remove the batteries, you could wave a towel at it, or you could find out what is actually causing the smoke. Most people are waving towels at their bloating instead of finding the source of the smoke. Ask yourself, has anyone actually tested me to find out why I am bloated? Or has every approach been a guess? If it has been guessing, the first step is not a new supplement, it's a proper evaluation. But even when people start looking for answers, this next mistake keeps them stuck. Reason number 2, your gut bacteria are out of balance, and probiotics might be making it worse. Your gut microbiome is an ecosystem. When that ecosystem falls out of balance, whether from a course of antibiotics, a highly processed diet, chronic stress, or other factors, bloating is often one of the first symptoms. Here's where most people go wrong. They try to fix this imbalance by adding more bacteria through probiotic supplements. But throwing random bacteria into a disrupted ecosystem is not a strategy. In many cases, especially if you have bacterial overgrowth or an inflamed gut lining, probiotics can actually increase bloating rather than resolve it. The probiotic you are taking to fix your bloating might be the very thing making it worse. And nobody told you because the marketing is louder than the science. I regularly see patients who started probiotics and felt more bloated, more gassy, more uncomfortable. They assumed they had just not found the right brand yet. They kept trying new ones. The problem was never the brand. The problem was that their gut environment was not ready for additional bacteria. When we address the actual imbalance first, sometimes through targeted treatment, sometimes through dietary changes alone, the bloating improved without any probiotic at all. Think of your gut like a garden. If the soil is overrun with weeds, you do not fix it by scattering more seeds on top. You have to address the weeds first, restore the soil, then what you plant has a chance to thrive. Probiotics are seeds. If the soil is not ready, they will not take root. They will just add to the chaos. If you started a probiotic and your bloating got worse or did not change after several weeks, that is data. Do not ignore it. Your gut may need a different intervention before probiotics can be useful. And this connects directly to something almost nobody is talking about when it comes to bloating. If this is already shifting how you think about bloating, hit subscribe. I break down digestive health, nutrition, and disease prevention every week. Everything I share is grounded in real science and clinical experience. No gimmicks. Now let's keep going because this next point catches almost everyone off guard. Reason number 3, your eating habits matter as much as what you eat. Most bloating conversations focus entirely on what you eat. But how you eat matters just as much, sometimes more. Eating too fast, not chewing thoroughly, eating while distracted or stressed, eating large meals late at night, all of these affect how your gut processes food. When you eat quickly or under stress, your nervous system is not in the state it needs to be in for a proper digestion. Blood flow diverts away from the gut. Enzyme production drops. Motility changes. The food sits longer, ferments more, and produces gas. The result? Bloating. And had nothing to do with the food itself. You could eat the cleanest meal on the planet. If you eat it in 5 minutes while scrolling your phone during a stressful workday, your gut will punish you for it. I work with high-performing professionals every day. Busy careers, meals eaten at their desks, lunch in 10 minutes between meetings. They have optimized what they eat, but completely ignored how they eat. When we slow down the eating process, when they sit down properly, chew thoroughly, and eat without screens or stress, the same foods that were causing bloating suddenly digest without issue. Nothing changed except the conditions under which they ate. Ask yourself, do you eat most of your meals while working, scrolling, or multitasking? Do you finish meals in under 10 minutes? Do you regularly eat large meals within 2 to 3 hours of going to bed? If you said yes to any of these, your eating habits are likely a significant contributor to your bloating, regardless of what is on your plate. But even if you fix how you eat, there's one foundational piece that most people are still missing entirely. Reason number 4, you are not eating enough fiber, and it is costing you more than you think. I know what you're thinking. Fiber? That's your big revelation? Yes, because despite being one of the most studied and proven interventions for digestive health, almost nobody is getting enough. The recommended daily intake is 25 to 38 grams. Most Americans are getting around 15, and it's not just the amount that matters, it is the variety. Your gut bacteria thrive on different types of fiber from different food sources. When you eat the same few foods day after day, you are starving entire populations of beneficial bacteria. Low fiber diets are linked to worse bloating, poor bowel regularity, reduced microbiome diversity, and higher risk for serious conditions including colorectal cancer and metabolic disease. The most powerful gut health intervention on the planet is not a supplement, a protocol, or a trend. It is fiber, and you are probably getting half of what you need. In my clinical practice, and based on my graduate training in nutritional biochemistry, the evidence is overwhelming. When patients strategically increase both the amount and variety of fiber they consume, the results are often remarkable. Better regularity, less bloating, not more, improved energy, and these changes can happen within days to 2 weeks. The key is to increase gradually, not all at once, and to diversify the sources. Also, make sure to drink adequate fluids when increasing your fiber consumption. Here's what I can recommend that you stop doing. Stop relying on a single fiber source or fiber supplement as your entire strategy. Stop avoiding fiber because someone told you it causes bloating. It can initially, but the long-term benefit far outweighs the short-term adjustment. Stop eating the same 5 to 10 foods every single week. Here's what I recommend that you start doing. Start adding one new high-fiber food each week, a new vegetable, a legume, a different whole grain. Start tracking your daily fiber intake for 1 week. Most people are shocked by how low it is. Start aiming for 30 or more different plant species per week. This sounds like a lot, but herbs, spices, nuts, seeds, grains, fruits, and vegetables all count. For example, if we take a fruit like berry, rather than just eating strawberries, you can start adding blueberries, raspberries, blackberries with the strawberries for a total of 4 different plant species. Start drinking adequate fluids, particularly our favorite non-caloric beverage, water, every day. Aim for 8 8-ounce glasses of water daily. You may require more if you're physically active and if you increase your fiber. By the way, water-rich foods, which are primarily fruits and vegetables, may contribute up to 33% of your total daily water intake. Now, everything I've shared will help reduce your bloating significantly, but this last point is the one that ties it all together and gives you something you can do tonight. Reason number 5, the gut-brain connection is real and stress is bloating you from the inside out. Your gut and your brain are in constant communication to the gut-brain axis. When you're chronically stressed, your nervous system shifts into a survival state. In that state, digestion is deprioritized. Motility slows or becomes erratic. Your gut lining becomes more sensitive. Inflammation increases. Gas and bloating follow. This is not stress bloating in the vague way people talk about it. This is physiology. The vagus nerve directly connects your brain to your digestive tract, and when stress is chronic, your gut pays the price every single day. This is especially relevant for busy professionals who are running on stress hormones from morning to night and wondering why their gut will not cooperate. Your brain is bloating you, not metaphorically, physiologically. The stress you carry in your mind shows up as gas in your gut. That is not an opinion, that is anatomy. I see this pattern in my clinic constantly. The patient whose bloating flares every time work gets intense. The professional whose gut calms down on vacation and falls apart the week they return. The person who has eliminated every food and is still bloated because nobody addressed the nervous system component. When we add even basic stress management into the picture, the bloating often improves more than any dietary change alone. Think of your gut like a second brain. It has more nerve cells than your spinal cord. When your first brain is in alarm mode, your second brain gets the message and reacts. You cannot calm the gut without calming the brain. They are the same system. Trying to fix bloating without addressing stress is like trying to calm a crying baby by changing his clothes. You're addressing the wrong thing. Tonight, do this. Before your next meal, tonight or tomorrow morning, take 5 slow breaths before you pick up your fork. Inhale for 4 counts, hold your breath for 4 counts, and exhale slowly for 8 counts. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, and signals to your gut that it's safe to do its job. This takes 60 seconds. Do it before every meal for the next 7 days. Another well-studied breathing exercise is the cyclic sigh, SIGH, or physiological sigh, where you take 2 consecutive inhales through the nose and exhale slowly and completely through the mouth. This has been shown to slow the heart rate, lower blood pressure, improve mood, and digestive function. Additionally, eat your next meal sitting down, without screens, without work, without rushing. Give yourself at least 15 to 20 minutes. Chew each bite thoroughly. Track what happens. Most people notice a measurable difference in bloating within the first week, not because they changed what they ate, but because they changed the state they were in when they ate it. This is not symptom management. This directly addresses one of the root physiological drivers of bloating, nervous system dysregulation. By shifting your body into a parasympathetic state before eating, you restore blood flow to the gut, improve enzyme secretion, and normalize motility. You are not masking the problem. You are correcting the conditions that created it. Here's a final thought. Bloating is not a life sentence. It's not just how your body works. It's a signal that something specific needs attention, whether that's getting a proper diagnosis, fixing your eating habits, increasing your fiber and hydration, or calming your nervous system. Stop guessing. Stop accepting it as normal. Your gut is trying to tell you something. It's time to listen. In the next video, I'm taking on the biggest myth in gut health, that probiotics are the answer to everything. I will break down what the science actually says, when they help, when they do not, and what to do instead. Click the link on screen or in the description and watch the next one.